In the past, mysterious civilizations erected entire cities in the depths of the earth with absurd engineering skills. Now, these ruins reveal the reason behind it: a dark past of the earth, neglected by the modern era. What they tell raises the possibility that such a phenomenon could occur again.
During the glacial era, 9,000 years ago, a mysterious and highly advanced civilization possessing scientific and engineering knowledge far superior to what is currently taught to us, inhabited Cappadocia in Turkey. The few records of their existence are in a bunker in an underground city called Derinkuyu, which means deep well. This region, approximately 335 miles northwest of Göbekli Tepe, is marked by rock formations resulting from volcanic eruptions and millennia of sedimentation. It was discovered in 1963 during the renovation of a house, when they found a tunnel below the surface, revealing a work of an unknown ancient civilization entirely motivated by fear. The question remains, fear of what? The immense city has 18 levels of rooms and tunnels carved into the rock of the region, capable of housing thousands of people, like a human-scale ant farm, with dozens of caves and underground tunnels stretching over an area of 2.5 miles. To keep this underground city ventilated, it has 15,000 air ducts, connecting all levels to the surface. Additionally, there are over 50 vertical shafts, with some reaching up to 279 feet in depth, connected to the groundwater in an engineering feat of absurd complexity, due to its continuous use and transformation by various cultures over the centuries. Determining these answers is comparable to deciphering a crime scene that has been altered multiple times. This is because the Cappadocia region has been a strategic point on the Silk Road, occupied by many peoples since the time of Alexander the Great. Cultures such as the Hittites, Phrygians, Persians, Cappadocians, Romans, and even the Ottomans passed through this area in 1400 AD, utilizing this underground city for various reasons. Initially, it was believed that the tunnels had been excavated in the year 650 AD by Christians trying to hide from Arab attacks. This theory is still accepted by many due to the deeper levels where secret meeting rooms are found, as well as churches. However, archaeological evidence indicates that the underground city was already in use in the year 750 BC, hundreds of years before the Christian presence, challenging the initial theories and showing that the history often taught may be quite wrong. The challenge in determining the exact date of the city arises from the lack of written records or organic materials that can be used in carbon dating, leaving a knowledge gap. Even dedicated experts like Hussam Suleymangil, who spent decades studying the site, face difficulties in determining its origins. The lack of carbon dating leaves the origin of the Derinkuyu underground city shrouded in mystery. One proposed theory is based on the oldest known culture that used these caves, suggesting that construction began in the 6th century BC, a period when the region was inhabited by the Phrygians. They faced the threat of the Assyrians, known for their brutality in war. The arrival of the Assyrian army would have caused terror among them. Possibly the Phrygians used the caves and tunnels of Derinkuyu as part of a guerrilla warfare strategy against the Assyrians, attacking and then hiding in these underground spaces, similar to what the Viet Cong did during the Vietnam War and Afghan rebels against Soviet forces and later American forces. One of the features that support this theory is the large stone doors that could be rolled to seal the passages, serving as an additional defense measure. These doors, about 5 feet and weighing up to half a ton, could be closed from the inside, an almost impassable barrier to invaders. On the inner surface of these discs, there is a hole, and if you place a stone in this hole, it acts as a handle that prevents someone from turning the stone from the other side due to the smooth surface. A very clever solution. Still, the question remains, were the Phrygians responsible for the construction of these doors and the underground complex? Or did they simply benefit from structures that already existed, perhaps even built by an even older civilization? The function of the visible doors in Derinkuyu, capable of dividing the different levels of the underground city, initially suggests a need for defense and sophisticated engineering. However, considering the malleability of the stone used, a determined attacker could theoretically break through these barriers, raising doubts about the effectiveness of these doors as fortifications against invaders. This is because when an invading people enter a territory, they aim to take the lands and occupy it. In this case, they would only need to block the exits and wait for everyone there to perish from hunger. This observation raises questions as to whether the doors were truly designed to deter attackers, or if they served other purposes, such as maintaining privacy between different sections or preventing the spread of fires. Furthermore, the very reason for constructing such a complex structure in a location without apparent valuable resources to defend challenges, the idea that Derinkuyu served as a refuge in times of danger. In the deeper levels of this vast structure, where the oldest rooms are found, it suggests they were not designed for defense but for everyday life, with kitchens identified containing small chimneys, storerooms, animal stables, and communal spaces. Even a wine cellar was identified, where grapes were crushed to produce wine and where temperatures remain at perfect levels, depending on how cold or hot it gets outside. This indicates that the site was created for humans in large numbers to live in long term. The history gains even more strength with references to great floods and a subsequent period of extreme cold, facts supported by geological evidence of past catastrophic events. Just 0.9 miles from Derinkuyu, tools used for excavation were found, which if used would leave the same marks found in the caves. These tools date back to 9500 BC, a much older time than we imagined in the age of these caves, and which fits into the time of the end of the last ice age. In 2013, the Turks discovered another series of tunnels in Nevşehir, 18 miles away from Derinkuyu. This underground city was even larger than the first one, with more and more underground cities being found over time, totaling 36 to date. And when cities with only 2 levels are taken into account, the number increases to 200. One of these cities, known as Kaymakli, just 5.6 miles from Derinkuyu, is an example of a city with a larger area and 8 levels deep, holding what may be a part of the secret of the reason for these constructions. On the 3rd level below, the underground tunnel that goes far away, but today is blocked, seems to be straightly connected to Derinkuyu. Recent research by archaeologists has shown that at least 6 of these large complexes are connected to each other by similar underground passages, demonstrating a large-scale project spread throughout the region, something that could only be done if peoples were faced with a great threat, forcing them to live their lives underground. The answer may be hidden in the oldest myths of the region, which have their origins thousands of years ago and are still practiced today. In their sacred texts, there is a reference to an underground city like Derinkuyu, giving names of those who started it and the reason for its construction, and its name was Aima.
God warned that soon humanity would face a fatal winter, and that his people should create an immense underground shelter, where they should take a couple of each species of animals and shelter their best men and women there. They should store seeds from as many trees and fruits as possible until this harsh and long winter passed. They would have to work on it until a serpent crossed the sky, when they should take shelter in their refuge as quickly as possible.
Today, historians do not take this story as a connection, but geologists have confirmed that during that period, the planet's temperatures plummeted. Interestingly, These events are accompanied by myths of various sculptures about the arrival of a great snake from the sky, symbols found in places of the ancient Aztecs, with representations of snakes, and other archaeological sites around the world that also depict snakes in disaster situations. This view of history suggests a broader and connected interpretation of ancient myths and symbols, indicating that global catastrophic events may have been memorialized, with snakes symbolizing destruction and renewal, suggesting that during the Ice Age, an advanced civilization existed parallel to hunter-gatherers, leaving a trail of knowledge that influenced structures around the world. This civilization would have been devastated by great disasters that occurred in the period known as the Younger Dryas. These events could be linked to the various symbols of snakes found globally, possibly representing a warning left by survivors, a significant chapter in our history that was forgotten due to the impact of drastic changes at the end of the last glacial period. The cause of these events until recently was a mystery. It may be linked to geological evidence pointing to comets as possible culprits for the floods, fires, and drastic drop in temperatures of that period. Linking the origin of serpent symbolism to these comets in the sky, between astronomical events and the ancestral myths spread throughout the world.